Here's the Infinity Saga Iron Man Mark III, and I can finally get rid of the prototype Mark III that I have from the Iron Man series. Here's the back of the packaging. It has a short bio and the movie poster. Top, bottom, and for both sides is the same as the other Marvel Legends Infinity Saga boxes. Here's the same cardboard at the back of the clamshell, just like the other Infinity Saga figures. And here's the figure. Quite a decent amount of accessories. Let's get the figure out. The figure comes with two pairs of hands, the fists, the repulsor blast hands, the masked head, unmasked head, and these three alternate parts that can be attached to the forearm. On the other side of the forearm accessories are pegs, and also there are some sculpt to it. This is the first one. I'm actually not sure when in the movie that Iron Man actually used this. Here's how it looks like on the forearm. This pair of missile is definitely on his first entrance in battle. Looks good on the forearm. And this smallest one is just a cover for the forearm. There's actually even sculpt on the other side. And there you go. It is just to match the other arm. The unmasked head is quite decent. It does resemble Tony Stark, and it also kind of does look like the one from the 10th year anniversary 2-pack. I think in terms of resemblance to Robert Downey Jr., it just barely passes. For the repulsor blast hands, it doesn't have the hinge joint at the wrist. So I guess I kind of understand why it doesn't have it because of this flap over here. So if there were to be a hinge joint, then it's going to be difficult for them to sculpt this flap. Here's how it looks like on the hands. Here's the fist. And lastly, for the unmasked head, this new figure has the double-ended ball pack joint for the head. The masked head is quite movie accurate. The appearance and the sculpt on the armor is really good. It's really quite movie accurate, and I think the paintwork on it is quite decent. There is a gloss to the red paintwork, and the gold is not so shiny, but I think it's pretty much decent and I like it. The sculpt on the neck area here is good. For mine, the arc reactor is painted kind of slightly off-center, a typical Hasbro QC problem. The back of the upper torso is kind of bare. You only have a few spots of gold. And yeah, that's it. The rest of it is mostly red and two dots of black near the shoulders. The sculpt on the arm looks quite decent, especially at the elbow area. For the shoulder pads, it is a separate piece. It is kind of rubbery and soft. And it's attached around the arms. So it swivels together with the arm. So I think that's a good thing, because it prevents the awkwardness of having the shoulder pad kind of just dangling and not following the arms like this, like the Mark 7 over here. So yeah, I like the update on the shoulder pads because it prevents this kind of thing from happening. The shoulder armor kind of stuck at one position and the arms are, it doesn't have the smooth alignment. Unlike the new one, which will have that smooth alignment no matter how you rotate the arms, because the shoulder pad follows the arms. And down to the legs, it is movie accurate. It's just simply red and gold, and that's it. Articulation. The head looks up this much, and you can see the gap at the bottom of the head. Down. It also tilts left and right, and of course all around. The arms goes up this high, swivel joint, double hinge elbow joint, swivel joint, and hinge joint for the fist. But it's a bit difficult to push it up like this because of the top part over here. And like I mentioned earlier, the shoulder pad follows the rotation of the arms. The mid-torso joint allows the figure to bend forward only this much and back this much. But of course, if it's this back, it looks kind of awkward because you can see that this part protrudes a bit at the abdomen area. And you can also see a small gap when you bend it forward. The waist swivel, of course, allows it to rotate the upper torso as well. One update on this figure is that it has individual pegs for both of the legs at the crotch area. You can see here, there, it can move up and down separately. And this actually allows a higher range of articulation. It's able to do this much split, this much to the front, but you have to be careful because the plastic here is soft. So if you were to push the leg up, you're going to push the plastic inwards like this. So if you leave it in the pose for a long time, the plastic might get warped and stay in that position. So yeah, you got to be careful of that. Thigh swivel, double hinge knee joint, which really gives a good range of articulation. No calf swivel, and hinge up and down, and ankle rocker. So in terms of articulation, the articulation is actually kind of updated and is better compared to other recent Marvel Legends Iron Man figures. Now, some comparison with other Iron Man figures. Here's the recent 10th year anniversary Mark 7. Here's the 10th year anniversary Mark 7. The Infinity Saga Mark 85. Ironmonger Mark 42. And Mark 50. I like the bulkiness of all the recent MCU Marvel Legends Iron Man because if you guys remember, this is actually the body mold for quite a few Iron Man figures. Mark 42, Mark 43, Iron Patriot, War Machine Mark II. They all used this one, and this body mold is kind of slim looking. So having the torso kind of slightly bigger makes it more realistic because there is a man inside the armor. So I definitely like that the recent MCU Marvel Legends Iron Man is kind of bulkier in size. And in terms of the paintwork, the red on the Mark III is definitely the best among these figures. It has a very good shine to it, even when compared with the recent Mark 7. Mark 7 is less shiny compared to the Mark III. Okay, it might be a bit difficult to see in the video, but if you have both figures in hand, Mark III is definitely better. And don't even talk about Mark 50. This is really plastic red. And I've also shared about the red on Mark 85 in my review of this figure, that the red is kind of brighter compared to the previous version of this Mark 85 itself. So between these two, definitely Mark III is better. And here's a comparison of the new Mark III with this prototype Mark III from the Iron Man movie series. There is another Mark III figure, but I don't have that one. You can simply see how small this earlier version is. And I really hate this Iron Man body mold that they kept reusing for most of their Iron Man series figures, be it the movie armor or the concept armors. For this prototype Mark III, you are able to take off the helmet to reveal a Tony Stark head. And it is not movie accurate because Tony Stark never appeared like this with the helmet off. This is definitely better. The prototype Mark III also has a removable chest plate. Again, I don't think Mark III appeared in this way, so I feel that this is kind of an unnecessary gimmick back then. The newer one is definitely way better. So just want to share a couple of head swap. For the Mark 7, the half mask head from the Mark III doesn't really fit the figure well. You can see that the head is kind of sitting too high on the figure. Same goes for the Tony Stark head that came with the Mark 85. It sits a bit high on the neck as well. But for the Mark III, the Tony Stark head actually looks really good on it. Check out my video on the head swap that I've done for this Tony Stark head. Link is in the description below. And here's a shot of the landing pose that each of these Iron Man figures can do. Of course, it can't beat the poses that can be done on the import figures, but between all the previous Iron Man figures, I feel the Mark III definitely did it best. The difference for the Mark III is that the leg is able to move forward more, and that makes the pose looks more natural. But of course, none of them is able to look up. The Infinity Saga Marvel Legends Mark III is a great figure. I find that the red and gold paintwork is better, the improved articulation at the crotch area, and also the way they attach the shoulder pad is definitely a plus point for this figure. The half-masked head is quite decent, and the forearm accessories are definitely awesome. So overall, this is a really good figure to get, and definitely the best Mark III that we've got. I really hope to see Hasbro do Mark 1, 2, 4, 5 and 6. Thanks for watching. Do check out my other reviews over here.